Hello everyone, we are Nikela Chung and Amy Sui, and we are from Sunway University representing International Business Society. And today we have with us a very special guest, Mr. Wong. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Good afternoon, rather good evening, everyone. I'm KS Wong. I am the Senior General Manager with Sunway Malls. Sunway Malls. I've been with them close to 12 years. Prior to that, I was a GM, and before that, I was the Director of Retail Operation. Um, in my 12 years with Sunway Malls, it has been I've done several projects. And the two most notable one would be Sunway Putra Mall, which is down in KL, and Sunway Velocity in Cheras. I'm happy to share that I have been a guest lecturer with Sunway University for I think for the past 5 to 6 years. And last September, I was appointed an adjunct practice professor for the Sunway University Business School. So I think out of this, I think I have close to about in the mall itself, I have close to 20 over years experience. Uh, outside of the mall side, before the mall side, I was in the hotel and F&B line. Well, I got about 10 plus over years like experience. Okay.
What motivated you to pursue a career in business?
What motivated me to pursue a career in business? It started off when I was in my secondary school, and a subject called commerce. You heard of the word commerce, right? And it was being taught. And during the time, I'm being what I call it a student. I didn't know much about business, to be honest, right? But the way the teacher has been explaining what is commerce about, the buying and selling of things and materials and product and merchandise, but on a much wider perspective, much wider scale. I think that is during the time the seed of interest in this field of business management was planted. This is how it started. Okay, and and I don't know whether you're aware. To start off, when I first did my studies, I didn't. I was not focused on business management. I was more towards hotel and catering management. I just started from that line. But over the years, because the time when I started off, hospitality management was the in thing. Everybody was doing, hotel was coming up everywhere, and everybody was studying the subject. So me being the way I am, I'm sure being people do it, I also want to do it. So I jumped on the wagon, and my dad sent me to UK. But over the years, the interest start to widen up, and I decided to further my studies and start to branch out into other field. That means from F&B, it went to hotel management. From hotel management, it went to club management. From club management, it went to mall management. That's how I landed where I am today. Okay.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
How do you manage your personal life and your work life?
Very interesting. This is a very interesting question, and many a times I had this what I call it. I had this different views with my what I call it HR. It was HR, right? Human Resource Department, and because for them they always emphasize, oh, you must separate out what I call it, separate between work life and personal life. You know, right? So then there was all this, guess this is what they call work life balance. So I did share with them. Yes, I appreciate what you're sharing, but in the real world, working world, we have what is known as what I call it work-life integration. It means you integrate your working life and your personal life. Now, let me illustrate by sharing you some example. Uh, if in the real world of working, we cannot totally cut off on. For example, I give you an example. I finish work at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in managing the mall. But the mall open until 10, right?
Yeah.
It's open until 10. And then the certain F&B and certain cinemas, they operate until after midnight.
Yeah.
Right? So are you telling me that after 6 o'clock, I don't bother what's happening in the mall? Cannot. Correct or not? Right? if there are issues with regard to the environment of the mall, you may not, the light trip, aircon breakdown, you may not, there are security issues. As a manager, I must be responsive. I must go back and look into it, right? So it depends on the industry you're in. In reality, there's no such thing as separation of work life and personal life. What I would like to, my opinion, advocate is work-life integration. Now, let me explain what I mean by work-life integration. In my line, normally I work just say 9 to 6 p.m. or official time. Now, unofficial, I start earlier, I stay back later. Now, there are occasions where I have to carry out management on duty. That means on a public holiday or on a Saturday or on a Sunday, they require a senior manager to be around, all right, during this peak season. So by default of my position, I'm always scheduled to be once a month or once every 2 months on a Saturday, because on a Saturday is the day where the chairman comes for inspection, you know. So they need a senior guy to there to handle that. So in this case, normally when I'm on the MOD, collect manager on duty, you are from basically work from 11 a.m. up to 7 p.m. All right, but the mall open at 10, correct? So normally what I do is before 10 o'clock, I'm in the mall already, even though officially I should be there by 11. Now, on the other hand, I'm supposed to finish the MOD shift at 7 p.m. Correct? Then what I normally do is I will then tell my wife, I say, look, I'm on duty this Saturday, right? Saturday. Why don't you come over to the mall? All right? You come over to the mall, have dinner together. Right now. So from 10 a.m., officially I start 11 now. From 10 a.m., I work all the way to 6 p.m. Right now. Right? Like everybody else, I'm entitled to my dinner time, right? So 11, but by 6 p.m., my wife joined me. Then I'll tell her, please select a restaurant that you like to eat, you know. You eat, dine together. Correct?
Yeah.
Correct. So what I'm doing now is I'm integrating my work life with my personal life. Because why? Saturday is the day you want to spend with family. But I also understand my responsibility. Correct? But I want to integrate it seamlessly, you know. Because tell me, when you're off, what you do, you go to the shopping mall, right?
Yeah.
Correct? You go and shop, you go and eat. Same thing, right? So I have a very understanding wife. She said, no problem. So by about 5:30, she'll come to the mall, right? Or 5 o'clock, come to the mall. She'll do a bit of shopping, and then by 6 o'clock, she'll select a restaurant. I meet her there. Then we have our dinner all the way up to about 8:30, 8:30, 9 o'clock. Then we go home, right? Now that is an example of work-life integration, okay? Where your partner, your spouse, understand your responsibility and understand how to work together to make it work. I give you another example. In my line of mall management, from time to time, we are required to go on field study. You know, it's field study, right?
Yes.
We go into the field to go and check other malls. But because of our seniority, sometimes we are sent overseas. All right. I give you example. Previously, I was sent to UK. I was sent to Japan. I was sent to Turkey for field trip. All right. So what I normally do is we will join this field trip organized by the association, you know, the Malaysian Shopping Mall Association, right? So they will organize a trip, they send off. Straight away, I tell my wife and my daughter, look, they got this trip going to Turkey, they got this trip going to UK, Japan, you know. All right, of course not, but it's spread out over a few years. So I said, I intend to go on this trip to UK. I want you people to come with me, you know. Do you think they'll be happy? They'll be happy, right or not? Right?
Very.
Right. All right. Now, while I'm on this trip, I am doing I'm carrying out my responsibility in terms of field trip. I go and survey the mall. I go and take photograph. I attend the meetings and all those stuff. But while I'm there, I tell my wife and my daughter, you guys go and do your shopping. All right. Good life, huh? Go shopping, huh? I said, then I said, however, there's a condition. When you do your shopping, you have to reciprocate. All right. I need you to take photograph of different type of promotion that is happening in the shopping mall that you're visiting, number one. Number two, when you visit the mall, when you see anything very very interesting, for example, a new technology, for example, you know, they didn't use in the particular, you take photograph of it, right? And if you walk and you find that their new fashion brand, their new F&B outlet, they are not available in our country, collect the business card, take a photograph. right? To them, they have the opportunity to travel abroad. They have the opportunity to go shopping, right? All they need to do is to collect information about the mall to help me. Of course, I'm doing my part to collect. They are doing their part, you know. So when we come back to Malaysia, come back home, we sit down as a family and we do engagement, you know. That means while I'm typing the report of my visit to this mall, they will this this photograph you add in, no. So it's a family occasion. So that's why I call it work-life integration. You must know how to mix and match whereby all parties are happy, right? To date, to be frank, none of my wife haven't complained, my daughter haven't complained. Okay, so you know, anyway, COVID we cannot travel, so this how I do a balance between my my personal life and my work life lah. I hope they answer your question.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have it balanced already.
Yeah, yeah.
I did all figure it out.
Our next question is, you started out as an assistant manager. How did it train you, or how did this position help you become the successful senior general manager of Sunway Malls today?
Very good question. I have to be honest, when I first started out working, I think it has to do with the attitude of a person, because it is my nature that, because from young, my dad had always tell me, you know, when you want to do something, do it well, you know, do it once, all right? Don't keep on making mistake, repeating it. You're wasting everybody's time, you know. Do it once, do it right, and your bosses will be happy, you know, right? All right. So that advice that my dad has given me has always been with me, even before I leave school. And after I left school, I went to UK to do my studies. That has always been in my mind. So when I went out anywhere that I go out to work, be it part time or whatever it is, I always have that attitude. You know? Do it once, do it right. Now, when you mention assistant manager, I believe you're referring to my time when I was in UK, right? Where I was an assistant manager handling training. It started off as a part-time job. The time when I went was 1978, actually. And McDonald's just came from US to UK. You know. That time, just recently. And so happened they wanted, they call it crew member. Crew member are the basic catering staff. And I needed some pocket money. So I went and worked, you know, to enjoy the food, the McDonald's food, number one. Number two, when I was there, it also gave me the pocket money that I need to work, because I was paying my way to college, you know. That means my parents pay for the school fees, but I pay everything else myself, my accommodation, my food, my everything I pay myself, you know. So what happened is when I worked there, I worked very hard, okay? And mind you, I'm studying, you know, I'm a student. I work because on Wednesday, very unusual in UK, they got half afternoon, they release the students for what called leisure. That means they don't want you to stress. You actually study 4.5 days. Wednesday afternoon, you go out and lie on the lawn, you know. So while my classmate do that, I will go to the restaurant and work part-time, you know. That means I work the late afternoon shift, you know, like 3 to 10 or whatever it is now. And within a short time, I was promoted to a floor manager. And after that, after another 6 or 12 months, I was promoted to be a training coordinator, assistant manager for clusters of restaurants. You know. And as I worked with them, my attitude changed. Attitude changed in the sense that I want to understand what is the successor, why McDonald's was so successful. You know why the and I told you the question, right? Do you think McDonald's became successful and well and what I call it make a lot of money from selling burgers?
No.
No, it's not only that.
So where do you think the money come from?
In my mind, I'll think the advertising, the marketing they did probably helped them.
Activities, not only like from selling burgers.
All right, you're partly correct. Their marketing activities and their community services activities give them a lot of value to the brand, McDonald's brand. The actual the actual what I call it area where the money come from is real estate. See, nobody thought of that, you know.
Yeah.
It's real estate. I also didn't. I was not aware of it. You know, I thought, wow, turn burgers, like I said, community service. The community services and all the marketing was to build up the brand. All right. Okay. Turning burgers is what you see they're doing it, but the actual money come from real estate, meaning that they have another team investing in real estate. They know that this McDonald's is going to do very well here. I buy the area, buy the shop lot, buy the space, you know. Then I put the restaurant inside. So the actual revenue comes from the real estate, not turning burgers, you know. And that was the turning point where I began to question. I stepped back. I began to question a lot of businesses, trade. You know, what we see is that what made them successful. You know, what is it that made them successful? And that's where when I was with them, I began to do a lot of how should I say that? I became a bit more curious, right? When I put that, I began to learn more in depth their training methodology. What made them so different, you know? And that's why I can share certain things with you because I spend so much time with them. So, of course, from there, because of because when you work in McDonald's, you have to be very disciplined on it, all right? When you do your inventory, when you do your waste count, when you do your marketing, you must be very precise on it, and that requires discipline. That makes a person very attentive to details, you know the details part. And in McDonald's, you have to work fast and speed, you know. And then obviously, all this leads to striving for excellence because the market is so competitive, right? And because the foundation was set when I was working in McDonald's, and it carries on all through the way when I work in hotel. I work in Shangri-La Hotel. After that, I work in the E&O Hotel and all those. Every how should I say industry that I work in, I want to work for the best. So from McDonald's, I went to Shangri-La. Shangri-La is known for their standards, you know. Then from there, then I come to Sunway Group, work in the Sunway Pyramid. You know, they are known for their mall, the system, and all those stuff. That's how I build up. So in short, what is in us is we need to have the right attitude. We need to have the discipline. We need to have being attentive. We need to have the speed of doing things. So that means when the boss asks you to do something, don't lay back, and delay, quickly get it done, sort of thing. And then all this leads to striving for excellence, and that what makes a difference. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, very insightful.
Yeah. Okay.
Our next question is like, what are some of the challenges you have faced throughout your career to reach your current position?
Okay, I think this one I have to be frank and candid with you all because you're after your studies you're going to work, right? All right. There are two things that among the few things that are the three main things. One is office politics. All right, you know what's office politics, right? You heard of it? Office, the politics, politics, but it's an office environment.
Not really sure about it.
So office politics, there will be office politics in any environment you work. You must have certain guiding principle in yourself, all right? And you must know how to manage the politics. That means don't get involved with them, As long as you are guided by your personal principle, as long as you do your job, or rather execute your assignment and deliver the results to your superior, right now. Whether you get recognition or not, whether other people make maybe not so encouraging remarks, you must be focused and do not be distracted by all these kind of things, and that's where you need to be. And if people are involved in politics, you put it aside, let them do what you want to do, and you just focus on the job. At the end of the day, when your superior assign you to do something, they see the end result. Correct or not? Right? You can do all the thing, but if you do a good job, he'll be very pleased. Right? So that's always been my principle. Second one is we must adapt to the office culture. Because in different office, you have different culture. Because why? The head of the office will have different kind of character. Some is very autocratic. Some are very liberal. Some are very what I call it believe in what I call it collective decision making. So when you move to different organizations or you move to different offices, first of all, you need to understand and you need to manage your colleagues. You need to manage your superior, and by doing that is to understand the office culture, what to do, what not to do, when to do it, when not to do it, sort of thing. So you understand. Then the third point is we need to have a guiding principle. Is like, for example, are we designed what I call it design for experience? Design for experience means that when you go there and work, it's not you going there just to work. You going there, you must have the passion to learn things. It's one. Two, you must work holistically. Don't say, oh yeah, because they're paying me a salary, I'm here to work. No, you work because you carry out your work as if that work is part of your business. And the other one is you need to be transparent. Transparent, share information with your colleagues and be open with them. And the last one is that to collaborate. Teamwork is very important for any project to be successful. Okay. Yeah, I think that's about it lah. Of course, I'm sure you know Sunway. We have our very what I call it very good core values, which is integrity, humility, and excellence. Right. Be mindful in Sunway. The emphasis has always been integrity first. You get the meaning right now, right? How you conduct yourself, what anti-bribery and corruption thing. That's the most important part. Second part is humility. Humility means do not talk down on your team. Do not talk down to other people. Always help them. Always what I call it express humility when we do to people. And then obviously the last one is excellence. Excellence is how you perform your job. Once you've got these two in place, excellence should come along. Right? Constantly strive to do better. Okay.
Our next question is, having worked in different countries like England and Indonesia, what are the benefits you can say you have gained from working in these countries, including Malaysia?
Very, very good. You got very good question actually. Okay. One of the things that I've learned over the years that I enjoy working in other countries on it, right? That's why I got travel. And is that you learn the culture, You go to different location to work, they've got different working culture. That's why just now I mentioned adapt to the office culture, right? Like for example, even in Malaysia, all right, I've been to East Malaysia. East Malaysia is the other side, Borneo side. They have a total different working culture. The language is different, All right, they are part of Malaysia, but they are Bumiputras, they are the local indigenous people, and they have a very, very different what I call it work culture. They got a very different way of getting things done. So when I go there, I have to understand their culture. I have to respect their culture. Number one. Number two, I got to understand it. Then I must understand what is the best way for me to engage with them. Right? And that's where that's where you learn a lot. Now, when I went to Indonesia, on the other hand, it was an interesting point for me also, because in Indonesia there are so many there are so many people in the country, and their wages are low. All right, comparatively wages are low. So to me, coming from Malaysia, where our labor cost or our what I call it workforce, the cost, labor cost is considered a second highest in our operating cost. So we are trained to be to have our staff to be what I call it productive, to have our staff to be efficient. So when I was in Indonesia, all right, when I went and worked in the mall, I was given 2 malls to manage. Their mall was huge, I'm talking huge. It's like a Mid Valley of that, And then they got a lot of land, gardens, garden, those fields, garden. They have like a land bank, Then I see a lot of people picking the weeds from the garden, right? And then I see a lot of people sweeping the leaves, the dead leaves on the road, the tarmac. So I told my CEO, who is from Singapore, who is Singaporean. And I said, sir, I think we are spending too much money on all these, what I call it, labor costs, right? I think I can recommend a machinery that can reduce your labor costs by considerable amount, right? Can you imagine one machine that so we do and then it cleans the whole place? You don't need 20 staff. You need 2 machines and the job is finished, and you cut down. They spend the whole day. This machine only take maybe half a day or 1/3 a day. And I learned something. My CEO pulled me aside. He said, because he called me KS. He said, KS, while you have good intention, I have good intention to manage the operating costs for the mall, we have to be mindful of one thing. These people who are working, they're still working, right? They were intentionally employed. Why? Because they are from the local community. They cannot find jobs. There are not enough jobs to go around. So the mall has become, is opening up opportunities for them to work. Even though it's just to sweep the grass, even though it's to pick the weeds from the garden. We are giving job opportunities for them. All right, and that opened up my eyes, because when in Malaysia we are told to innovate, to find ways to manage costs, but in Indonesia they're talking about sustainability, giving employment to the people, so it was eye-opener for me, and that's why I said a different culture. So the CEO was very understanding. He was explaining things to me. So when I went there, despite my vast experience of managing malls in Malaysia, when I went over there, it was a different total environment. We're talking about sustainability of the surrounding villages around the mall. So can you imagine? Second point, because in Indonesia at the time, there was a lot of those riot where they burn churches and all those. So many of the churches open up satellite campus in the mall only. All right. And so what happened is, from time to time, you will find certain character who want to burn the churches one. Because they cannot burn the churches, they'll burn the mall. You know what I mean or not? So being a mall GM, we have to know how to manage crowd control. It's like a riot police. Again, it was an eye-opening to me. I said, sir, you employ me as a mall GM. My role is to do business development, how to save money for the mall, how to make money for the mall, not to manage, riot, something. And they said, KS, this is part of the job scope in Indonesia. And I said, wow, it's something new to me. So I understand the differences in different culture and different location. Things happen differently. Like for example, in Malaysia, it is unheard of to have people attempting to blow up shopping malls, correct? But in Indonesia, in Jakarta, is nothing new. Having explosion let off in the mall. Just to let you know, all right? So your priority is different. A high emphasis is placed on security and safety of the mall and its population. Number two, high emphasis is placed on the sustainability of the communities around the mall. You see now, right? And one thing I learned very much, my CEO put me aside and he said, KS, do you know why we place so much emphasis in sustaining the community around the mall, the villages around the mall? I said, why? They say they are our eyes and ears, meaning any strangers from other part of the country or overseas coming who attempt to do things to the mall, these people will find out first. And they are the one will tell the management that their suspicious character hiding here, or their suspicious character loitering this day. Because why? The mall is their rice bowl, right? If the mall closes down, they'll be without a job, right now, right? Because they are earning money to feed their family, So the mall is very important to them, and they are literally a family to the mall. So there's two differences I got now. So coming to UK, England, like you mentioned, when I was there, what I do find is that they are very they are not as how should I say I must be careful not to offend anybody. I would say that Asian, we are a bit more hardworking, more industrious, as compared to some of the Westerners. Not all, some. In a sense that they believe, oh, I work X number of hours. Okay, I'm not going to work anymore. I'm going to relax. Whereas for your Asian, we have a certain culture whereby we say we will till the land while the sun is still up. That means we'll continue to work hard, right? And for example, when it comes to 6 p.m., my what I call it, my English colleagues, right? They drop the thing, everything. They say, oh, let's go to the pub and have a drink. Right? They do that, at the pub, the drink until they get drunk. For me, I continue to work because why? I was in England to study. I was in England to acquire what I call it, knowledge. I was in England to acquire experience, right? So I work, right? And that's where you see the what I call it, the productivity, And because of that, the superiors, the area managers, always favors people like us. All right, because why? Every time they come for inspection, at those odd hours, always you're Asian because the rest all went to the pub. You are the one that hold the business together most of the time. Right? Weekend you're not there, public holiday you're not there. We always are. So we are the one, and that's why opportunity open for us because they want somebody who's hardworking. Okay. Okay.
That was very insightful. The next question is, during the past years, we have seen major growth and developments of shopping malls in Malaysia. Based on your experience, what is the first step to creating a successful retail complex?
Again, you got a very good question. A lot of people are jumping on the wagon. You see, at the time when the shopping mall, at one time it was the hotel. So everybody jumped on the wagon to build a hotel because it was iconic, in the business, when they do reporting, oh, I got a hotel, a 5-star hotel, whatever hotel, Then one time people start to build a mall, everybody jump on the wagon to build more, all right? And when you ask the question, right, the first step to creating a successful retail complex is an excellent question. Very simple. 2 items. 1, market research or market study. All right. Second one, you must do a feasibility study. All right. Let me now elaborate. Market study, actually, when we do a market study, every time before we build a mall, we need to do a market study now. But this market study is done, or market research is done before the project. When you first have the idea of considering to open a mall, you must do a market study. Right? Why? You need to understand where you want to build, for example, the location. You need to do a study. Understand that the mall size is depending upon the catchment. Catchment means your primary trading area within 10 minutes around the site. Secondary catchment, which is about another 15 minutes around the site. Tertiary is beyond. All right. So you need to do what I call it, a market research to understand who are the potential consumer around there. All right. What is their shopping behavior? All right. Because just say around the area, you've got 300,000 or 500,000 population. Different people, the potential market, have different preferences. Right. So you need to understand them. Number one, the people there could be their preferences could differentiate based on their ethnic breakdown. All right. The differences could be because of the age breakdown. Whether you're young, teenager, students, or you are what I call it, working one. So again, all these factors, and what are their preference and what are their disposable income? Now, I give you an example. If your population there are predominantly Muslim, they may skew towards having more halal restaurant, selling halal restaurant. However, if your community there are skewed towards being a Chinese, they might prefer a lot of Chinese food. Chinese love to eat, right? Dim sum lah. Okay. Now, I just give you an example. Do you know where is Sunway Putra Mall?
No.
It's in KL towards, you know where KLCC is? It's a bit further up north. Is near Putra World Trade Center. All right. That area there, the population is about 60% Muslim and 40% non-Muslim. So the Muslim part actually, the bigger portion. But if you look at velocity in Cheras, it's the reverse. It is 60% Chinese, well, 60% are Chinese, 40% Muslim. Now, again, next question is, aside from the ethnic breakdown, you must also look at their what I call it, disposable income, right? I give you an example. When you open the mall, the type of tenant that you bring into the mall will be influenced by the type of what I call it, disposable income of your people. For example, when I went to open Velocity, we realized that the bulk of the population there were primarily Chinese, 60%. So we brought in a lot of F&B, Chinese F&B. So it was packed, all right? Then we find that the population, the visitor population was 80% Chinese, 10% non-Chinese, right? Which is very bad. You know why? Because 40% are non-Chinese. That means we only taking 10% of the 100% of the 40 is non-Chinese. So we are missing out a big a big portion of the market. So we start to tweak. Tweak means we start to adjust our tenant mix. We bring in more halal restaurant, like chicken rice shop lah, KFC lah, something. So they came in. However, the more affluent Malays will ask, hey, don't you have anything better? So they expect things like American chilies, O'Brien sandwich. They start to expect this kind of quality, like what Tony Roma, TGIF, that kind of thing. So we have to tweak our what I call it based on this market. Then we have to tweak it. So that's why having a market research is very important. Okay. Now the second point I mentioned about feasibility studies. Feasibility studies, just to let you know, to build a mall the size of let me see, Putra Mall is about 500,000 net lettable area, 500,000 net lettable area. It will cost almost 500 million ringgit only to build. All right. Velocity in Cheras is about 850,000 net lettable area. The total development cost is 1.2 billion. Okay. So you have to work backwards because you need to get a loan to build the mall, correct or not? You have to work backwards and see the figures whether it jive or not. For example, the rental rates for the ground floor, right? How much you need to pay, lower ground floor, how much you need to pay, first floor, second floor. Then from there, your total revenue that you can get a month, all right? You work backwards whether you can service the loan or not. 1.2 billion, you just calculate the interest rate. How much you need to pay a few $1 million a month just for the interest rate. So you have to work backwards to see whether it's feasible for the project to move. That's why you have to do these two research, market research and feasibility studies. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
What are some of the challenges you faced professionally during this global pandemic?
Right. Challenges professionally faced in this global pandemic. Many. I think the first one on our list is business sustainability. You will hear the word sustainability is one of the keywords I'm using because Sunway, our chairman, Tan Sri Jeffrey Chia, has been a very strong advocator of this United Nations Sustainable Development Initiative. I think you know, right?
Yeah.
So in people's mind, when we think about SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, we always think of environmental factor, trees, that kind of thing. But what we need to understand during this COVID-19, when we talk about sustainability, it relates directly to business sustainability. All right. Now let me explain. In the mall environment, for example, pyramid, we have thousands of business partners. We do not call them tenants. We call them business partners. All right. Just imagine the minute during the MCO1, right? I don't know whether you remember last March in the MCO1, where the whole country was closed. Nobody left the house for first month, 2 weeks, then 2 weeks, right? A lot of money was lost, right? So the whole mall totally closed. Only the supermarket was open, only the pharmacies was open, and some of the F&B was open for takeaway. So can you imagine the rest of the tenant, sell fashion brand, selling shoes, what I call it, selling apparels, all these accessories. They had zero business for 1 whole month because 2 weeks plus 2 weeks, right now. How are they going to pay the salary of the staff? Right now. And how is the staff going to pay the rental of their accommodation? Right?
Yeah.
Correct. Right. And then how is the business person going to survive? Correct.
Yeah.
So what we did was, in Sunway's case, we quickly have a meeting and consulted the chairman. My CEO did that. He consulted the chairman, Tan Sri Jeffrey Chia, and he consulted Tan Sri Chiu, the president of the company, together with Datuk Jeffrey. And they had to make a very fast decision that we bite the bullet. Sunway Mall bite the bullet, right? We bite the bullet by waiving 100% of the rental to help the tenants, to sustain them, because we use our cash reserve while we help you. That's why when you are in a very strong position, you must be humble. You must express humility, and you must help those who are less fortunate right now. So for the first 2 weeks, we waive 100%. And I tell you, our business partner tenant, some of them cried because other malls was insisting they pay. All right, we waived first 2 weeks. Second 2 weeks, we had another quick meeting. We waived again. We decided to help them. All right, just to let you know, every week that Sunway Malls waive total rental, it means every 7 days, we got 7 malls, right? We waive 100% rental. We lose 10 million ringgit. It is a lot of money. So can you imagine, right? But we think of long term, how to help our business partners, sustainability. That's why a lot of things that we do, we always must fall back on the word sustainability, because they are our business partner. If they do not do well, it will affect us right now, right? And next time when we want to expand our group, we are going to have more malls. They may not want to come. You're a terrible landlord. You have no compassion. May not. In this case, just to let you know, we are building another mall. You know where is Sunway Joe?
Yes.
Sunway Joe, right? There's another mall. That is where the Sunway University Faculty of Art and Music will be coming up. The phase 2 is coming up there, and there's the mall there. 300,000 net lettable area. All right, just let you know. And we are building another extension in Penang mainland, and then we're building another mall in the island. The island one is close to the size of Velocity, almost 1 million square feet. And when you open a mall, you need retailers, right, to come in to populate your mall. Otherwise, you open a mall, it's empty. Can you imagine? You need them to come in, and they must be willing to come in, right? And because we have been a good business partner with them, right? We always negotiate, engage with them. They tell us we have trust in Sunway brand, Sunway Malls brand. All right. We will always consider when you ask us to look at your project, right? So can you imagine the earlier 1 year experience they had with other malls who were very hard with them, right? Who show no empathy for what they're going through, right? They want to ask when the tenancy expired, they will pull out. They say, I'm not going to work. I'm not going to have my business in the mall where the landlord doesn't have empathy on it, right now, right? Because during the tough time like now, COVID, right? Just like with us, the retailers are also trying to sustain the business, correct? If I got 10 outlets, all right, out of the 10 outlets, right, you will find that 4 outlets will be doing very well, all right? 3 outlets doing very well, 3 outlet or 4 another 3 outlet doing very badly. It's a natural thing, And then in between, you find 4 outlets. They are sometimes making money, sometimes may not make money. So it's a, it's a, what they call it, average kind of performance. So what you do is the 3 outlets that is not performing well, they will chop it off. That means cut your losses. That's the first priority. So the second 4 outlets, they are making money and not making money sometime, they will come back and negotiate. For example, revise the rental rate, or they want to downsize. Instead of maybe 3,000 square feet, they want to downsize half the size. So that they can survive. So these are why it's important. Business sustainability is so important. Okay, during these challenges. The second point is that just to share with you, during the MCO1 last year, the car we set off the car count. What's car count, right? The number of cars coming into the shopping mall. All right. 2 is the number of footfalls in the mall. 3 is the sales per square foot. That means your shop is 1,000 square feet and you do 500,000 sales. Let's say 500,000 divided by 1,000 square feet, for example. So we use those as the key performance index for us to assess the effect of the MCO1. MCO means the COVID, the first one. And just to let you know, when they first implement MCO1, the business dropped by 95%. So just imagine, you got 10,000 ringgit, your allowance for studying in Sunway University, your parents sent to you. Suddenly they chop off 95%. How do you think you will survive? Right? Can you imagine? Right? So these are the challenges, right? So what we did was we do a lot of marketing and all this kind of thing. We help the tenants, and we do a forecasting that towards end November, December of last year, which was 2020. Normalization means it will come back to normal. It will touch about 90% of normalization. But unfortunately, in October, the third wave came. Third wave of the what, right? And it was, how should I say it? It was very, very tough. Everything went back to square one. So can you imagine you're climbing up the mountain? You're almost 80% to the peak. Then suddenly you slide down all the way down to the bottom and you start again. Can you imagine? Right? Yeah. And then to make it worse, this year we have this MCO2. All right. Now, during the MCO1 last year, when it happened, so what the management did was, our first priority was business sustainability. Correct? I say that. Number 2, we also do our part to sustain the mall itself. Number 1, we manage overtime. We don't encourage overtime because the mall is 90% of the mall is not open. There's no excuse for overtime. So we manage overtime. We have to take out part-timers, right? No part-timers. And then what we had was we have to multitask. That means one person do two, three jobs. We have to reskill our staff. We have to upskill our staff. All right. Then we have to look into innovative ways to plan for the future. And at the same time, we have to motivate the staff who work from home. And that was under MCO1. During MCO2, I'll tell later MCO2. So this was what these were the challenges that we faced during a pandemic under MCO1. Okay. Yeah. Your next question.
Well, our next question will be: the emergence of COVID-19 has disrupted the growth of various firms globally. In what way do you think COVID-19 has impacted shopping malls, and what are the differences in the challenges faced during this global pandemic and the 2008 economic crisis?
Good question. Okay, so in this question, you got 2 questions. I like the way you put it. All right. Okay, during this COVID-19, it has affected the shopping mall from this angle. Number 1, it has reduced the footfalls. Footfall means that the pedestrian traffic coming into the mall. Okay, that is footfall. Number 2, it has reduced consumer spending. Right. All right. Yeah. It has reduced because of the MCO1, the car capacity has also been affected. When I say the car capacity, mean last time when the car drives into the mall, you'll find the car have about 3%, 4%, 5%. Now the car comes in the mall only 1% because the SOP say 1%. initially for the first how many months. Subsequently, after that, I think about 3 months, 4 months, they say 2%. So can you imagine? Previously, your car comes in the mall, they're 4%, now they're 1%. Can you imagine? So the footfall reduced the car capacity. And the other area was that because of the enforcement of the physical distancing of 1 meter, all right, and point number two, in the restaurant in particular, the insistent, can you imagine you sit at a dining table, you have to be 1 meter away from your friend or your family members, and ridiculous, 1 meter away. Okay, so the capacity of the restaurant reduced by almost 60%. So can you imagine? Because no choice, right? You got a table meant for 10% to ensure the 1 meter physical distancing, your sitting capacity reduced to more than 55%.
Yeah.
Right? And then your table has to be further away. Even though back to back, you have to be further away. So the number of tables reduced, the sitting capacity to the tables also reduced. This one. Then the third area is that the what was that? The standard operating procedure was not clear. Even though they introduced, they keep on changing. First was 1%, then become 2%. You know, all right. First they say no need come to the mall, you don't have to wear mask, then you have to wear mask. You know, they themselves also unclear. So it created a lot of confusion, right? And then the interpretation of the standard operating procedure by the authorities. All right, Putrajaya will give out certain SOP, but when they issue the SOP, it is up to the interpretation of the authorities. That means the police, the local authorities, when they go out, is how they interpret it. You know, some say in the car, why don't you wear the mask? Some say you don't wear the mask, even that sort of thing. So there's a lot of things, and then people become so fearful, right? They themselves are confused. The authorities themselves in this part of town don't need to, but you go to the other part of town, you have to, you may not. So that. Then the other one is the closure of many international brands in the mall. Like Mango, I'm sure you all know Mango, the brand Mango, M&G, no, M&G, and they have closed already because what they closed, and then lack and also slow action by the government in terms of providing assistance. Okay, and then things like there are double standard of practices, by the authorities. They come to the mall, they're very aggressive, They go to the pasar malam. You know pasar malam? Those wet market, at night one. They're very liberal. They don't enforce it so hard. So they are what I call it. It's not consistent in the way they enforce their SOPs. Now, just to share with you, during the MCO one, all right, the losses, because the MCO one, the first 1 month or 3 months where they totally closed the nation, 2.4 billion losses was incurred each day. The country was closed, 2.4 billion, because nobody worked, everything was closed, right? And then the government has to give a lot of stimulus package. The first stimulus package was in 27 February. They give about 20 billion, all right? The second stimulus package was on 27th of March. It was called the second Malaysian Prihati economic stimulus package. It was valued at about 250 billion. Then the third one was Malaysian Prihati economic stimulus package for SME, small medium enterprise, given out on 6 April, about 10 billion. That was on the first year. The second what I call it, the second MCO that's now just happened, right? Losses, because they learned from the first MCO where they totally closed the whole nation. They lost 2.4 billion each day. This time around, you observe our closure, you still do your business here and there, right? The losses was just 600 million per day. Right? So initially total closure 2.4, now minimum closure 600 million. So they're trying to balance out the welfare and the economy. You see, when you close the whole nation, you are giving 100% focus on the welfare of the people, but you are killing the economy.
Yeah.
So they learned from the first time. So the government is making efforts to do a balancing act between the welfare of the people as well as the economy. So they slowly open up the economy, encourage it. just that they didn't engage the industry closely to discuss what are the SOP to be done, more realistic SOP lah, okay. Yeah, and then the second question was differences in the challenges faced during the global pandemic and 2008 economic crisis. Now, I think both the 2008 financial crisis and the current coronavirus pandemic are very different in terms of the nature of it, but both have produced a volatile impact on the financial market, right? The other one is that some people are saying that the COVID-19 are more referred to as the Great Lockdown, all right? Whereas the other one was called the Great Recession, 2008 was called the Great Recession. This is called the Great Lockdown. So this is how the people is. Whereas in 2008, the banks were said to be the source of the problem, right? This time round, it's not the bank. It is the virus, right? That forced a lockdown that nobody wants, and that's where the thing starts. Okay, so these are some of the what I call it, the differences and the impact of the two that I can share with you. Okay. Your mic. You need to unmute your mic.
Oh, sorry. Our last question for today is, what would you advise us, international business students who aspire to become future entrepreneurs?
Good question. I think one of the important things for you to do is, I always ask back the question, because in our training, the 7 habits of effective managers is that we need to understand you before we give advice. So I always ask that the question, right? You ask, see, of all the program that you have in business management, why did the student select the international business management paper? I mean, of all the program you have the normal business management program, you got marketing. Why this particular international business program, right? You have to ask yourself, number one. Then obviously, then when you ask yourself that question, you will then begin to understand. But just like me, like I told you, that time when I started off, my first academic field was hotel management, hotel and catering management, right? But after a couple of years, I find that my passion was not there. All right, I can do the job, right? I was a hotel manager, but my passion was not there. I want something different, So I start to study and I start to branch out, and that's where I am today. I find that mall is the most exciting one. So, with regard to your question, then as an international students, what are the areas that you are studying? All right, then what you are studying, and out of that, what is the specific area that you're very interested in? All right, is it legal? In the international studies, you can be specialized in legal, in terms of franchising law, licensing law, for example, right? Because a lot of brands are brought from overseas into your country or into our country, and it involves a lot of laws on it. So this area that you may want to specialize in, all right? Or you may want to what I call it, understand a particular trade that your country is not doing, how you can have exchange. Okay, like for example, I said, seashells, they don't have shopping mall there, is it? So I said it's the opportunity. So what you need, you must find some investors to go in to collaborate with the government, for example. That means you find Malaysian business people or Singaporean people, who wants to venture into seashells, all right, and go for development, for example, build a hotel, what I call it, go and have a manufacturing, install telecommunication, or like Sunway, they got so many activities, they got education, they got what I call it, shopping, they got medical, for example, then go in and tie up with the government collaboration, right? Then you can, your international students, when you graduate, you can be the link person in between them, right? You can represent your country, and because you are here already, you can network.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing that I have for the advice for the international business student is that join professional association, for example, Chamber of Commerce, right? For example, you think you like the British Chamber of Commerce, you join them, right? Or you think you like the American Chamber of Commerce, Australian Chamber of Commerce, or Europe Chamber of Commerce, join, number one, so that you have access to the resources. All right. Two, you network with somebody there. You know, you find that there's someone who are friendly, someone who's open to engage with you all, network with them, right now, right? And then from there, because you network with them, they're able to give you advice, they're able to share ideas with you. Like for example, with me, I get a lot of people approaching me, to be frank, from UK, even from Cambodia, you know. They want to network because they want to know what's happening in Malaysia. They want to see where we can collaborate, you know. These are the things. So these are the areas that I think that the international student can look into. I hope I have been helpful to answer your question.
Yeah, very much.
Okay.
So, as I said before, this is our last question of the interview. On behalf of International Business Society, we would like to thank you, Mr. Wong, for your time and all of the insights you have provided us today.
You're welcome. Most welcome. Okay. So if you feel that you need more feedback, or you need more advice or whatever it is, you can always send me an email. Then I will do my best effort to assist you all. Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks again for inviting me. Okay.
thank you very much, now.